about your mind. If you walk that road, you'll be left behind, like swaying branches in the air, lost in confusion, filled with despair. Arguments and fallacies taken from the book of lies and deceit. There are those who will never see the gift of Logos that was given to me. And I know how water flows, and I know what level shows. You'll be wasting your time, trying to change what's been defined. I know what I know. I know what I know. You don't know what you don't know. Blackpool paradox. You think it's measuring, but it's not. It's optical phenomenon. All you fools think you know what's beyond. I know how water flows, and I know what level shows, and you'll be wasting your time, trying to change what's been defined. I know how water flows, and I know what level shows, and you'll be wasting your time trying to change what's been defined.
Horizon means the line where the sky meets the earth. Yeah, that's the definition I'm going by.
All
and
horizontals are and we are live. Welcome everyone. It is Tuesday, isn't it? I keep losing track of days. Tuesday, logic night. What did I title this one? What's so hard to understand about logic? It's we try and, like we do here, we try and break everything down to the simplest thing it possibly could be. And what we end up with is the logic, the reasoning, I think, that helps you understand things. It's pretty basic. You understand, you bang your toe on a certain thing, you know not to bang your toe on that thing again. There's a reasoning, like, wow, it hurts, I won't do that again. It's an innate reasoning ability that everybody has, at least to do those sort of basic things. And what we've been dealing with is a group of people that come at this from reality, been drawn in to an arena because they happen to say something what they thought was normal, right? In everyday normal life, saying the things we say, even within mathematics and all of that, within engineering, within the surveying trades, within any construction, saying what we say is not out of place. There's only one group of people that think it's something strange what we say. And because we're in this particular arena, and where I'd say we're at the heart of it, because we've been pushed into this really strange place. If anybody else is around here knowing about this, then you would understand that, like, this is the dregs of the community. Isn't that right, Blue? My mouse keeps moving. What's going on here? Why is my mouse doing that? Just keep tracking over to one side. Does anyone know why that's happening? Maybe. There you go. Right. So in saying that, we does seem to be... Is that blue marble? Talking about banging toes, Blue. It's just how you learn from doing things. But I mean, there are some people that seem to have gone beyond the learning of a straight line into some sort of conceptual misunderstanding of what a straight line is. And they've been so model afflicted that they now go round trying to push their paralogisms on everybody else. And they are the group of people that drew us in. Drew me in anyway, because I thought, what's going on here? What's up with these people? They're crazy. I need to find out more about them. And I found at the basics of everything, the fundamentals, the foundations of our understanding, there is a very simple method, and it's derived from logic, but that logic is already there. It's a process that a certain group of people, a very, very small group of people that are so severely model afflicted, they can't accept reality and the fact that a straight line is free from any curvature. That's what separates it from a curved line. Now, it may seem so simple and like beyond reasoning ability of most people to understand exactly what I'm saying here, because you don't have nobody's ever had the need to go back to these basic understandings in adulthood, but this group of people have chased us there, or they've took us there, and in that journey we've found it like a comedy club, and that you couldn't make this up as a scene or anything. It's just ridiculous. these concepts, but it's what's required of the globe model. Now, when we talk about the globe model, we are particularly talking about the blue marble, because that's the one everybody's got in the picture, right? And even the words blue marble. What's marble? Well, is it like a kitchen top marble? Or do you think of a marble like a children's toy? Which marble are you thinking of? The blue marble, like the granite stone slab that they make things out of? Or are you talking about the children's marbles, the ones that are round? Depends, who knows? Blue marble, that model. And the people that have that model like to term themselves scientists. So these blue marble scientists are the ones that have drawn us in, because they're the ones that have a problem with us talking about reality and trying to explain reality. You want to come in there, John? You've got a bit of a hot mic.
Yeah, I don't know why that's happening. I'm going to try and leave and come back.
Okay. Yeah, so tonight's special because I think we are witnessing the birth of thought coming from the blue marble scientist crew, the head honcho. He's even titled himself, I mean, the Grand Pappy sat on the big throne, the blue marble science. This is the guy that speaks for the whole entirety of the blue marble science. Frantic bunny ears. So we're going over this tonight, and the hilarities that ensue from trying to explain blue marble science, bunny ears, and link that to the well, just reality that we all experience. So we're going over blue marble and some of the ways. When we'll get round to the new argument in a bit. Let me see if I can cue some of these videos up. I've got some of them are quite long, but I did clip a few of these.
The chord.
Okay. Right now, let me get you guys. Can you see? Why is that video not showing now? Oh, it doesn't seem to be wanting to let you guys see it. Let me just try this again. No. There's an app that it won't let me show on Discord. I don't know how I'm going to do this then. I have put the videos in the Discord chat in the agents. So I guess you guys can, you know, can you, well, you won't be able to hear it, will you? No. Don't know. How are you going to do it? You guys, I'm going to play a video in Agents Live now. These are just to go over Blue. So the first one's Blue's Proof. One of the very early videos that Blue Marble did. So if you want to...
I do not
fine.
have a model
Well,
other
I
than
do.
saying level is horizontal.
I do, and my model says level is not horizontal.
Brilliant. I say I can prove that level is horizontal.
And I say I can prove it is not.
Brilliant.
It's every
sloping away the water.
Yeah.
No, the water level doesn't slope away.
Yeah.
Blue.
Yes, it does.
No,
yes, it does.
It's level. That's what level is.
But it does.
No slope.
That's right. That's exactly right.
We know
it
how
is level.
water
We
flows.
agree with that. It is level.
Yeah, water
it's
flows.
All the same,
doesn't it?
Potential.
Down.
It's all at the same potential.
Water wouldn't slope away.
All the elevations will be the same, but
is it
dropping away from
Agents
that
Live? Because I cannot
horizontal
see
that is perpendicular to the surface normal
Agents Live
at the point you put your auto level. That's just the way it is.
Right. Sorry, can you can't see that. It's another channel. So Blue Marble Science has this proof that level is not horizontal, and it involves some way about water sloping away. Slope. That's Blue Marble. That's the sort of first time I ever came across Blue Marble. Was in I think it was in Jose's. Actually, to talk to him, and he had this idea that he would be willing to go up against the level is horizontal proof, which I had. He never shown any of this, but we're hoping to get around to it eventually at some point, where Blue Marble shows his elevation profiles. So that was at the beginning of Blue Marble wanting to put forward his views of I believe he's engineering, globe engineering or something. There is longer videos of all of this sort of stuff to go over. And the next one's Blue's Hump. Now this was obviously, once you start saying that level deviates from horizontal, there becomes a bit of a problem whenever you put a water level in front of this person that imagines there's level isn't horizontal, and they think there's some sort of a proof. Well, this is what occurs when that.
This is what we're going to talk about. This is what is going to be talked about between the Try Thinking crowd and Brandon Toy. And
see why they think the Try Thinking crowd, Blue Marble, and I'm not too sure. We're just a group of people that have very simple ideas about very simple things, and it's easy for us to come to an understanding. It's easy for us to talk about these situations and talk about the simplicity of it. There you go, Blue's in the chat here now. So, yeah, this isn't the crowd. We do talk about this stuff, but we talk about it to go over it. To iron out any problems anybody has with this sort of stuff, and to show how you prove this to yourself, how you can do it.
I think Brandon did a great job of asking the right question. Imagine that you're looking at 3 water levels, or well, you're looking at water levels. This one at the top.
You're looking at one body of water. It's all connected. It's the same thing.
Top up here, maybe you can see my cursor, would be, it could be a single water level with a tap in the center, or it could actually be 2 separate water levels. Wouldn't make any difference as long as that center elevation of both of them are matched up. And that, of course, is what you would expect to see on a flat Earth.
No, that is what you would expect to see in reality. That's a horizontal water level. That's how they work. There's no drop. There's no slope. All of these points are at an equal, even altitude. Very simple. Don't get confused. I must have said this to Betty. I've told this to everybody. Don't get confused with flat Earth and reality. This is how level is horizontal. We're not talking about the Earth. We're talking about a water level tool. Not the Earth. A tool. But Blue Marble is a little bit model afflicted.
And the water should be in a straight line.
Water is in a straight
Points A, B, and C should fall in a straight line. But that's not actually what we see in reality.
Yes, it is. Right now, this is where Blue Marble goes into his paralogism advisory thing. He's advising people and going to tell them now something that is literally impossible. But it can only occur on his model. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about a tool, a water level in reality. Not this, what Blue Marble's doing.
We see what we have down here at the bottom. The Earth is not flat.
See now, Blue Marble here, in this picture alone, after he's just explained that one, and I put up a few extra things on it to show you how the shared straight line segment works. This one here, Blue Marble, has 3 horizontal planes. In between A and C, there are 3 different horizontal planes according to Blue Marble. It's got 3 arrows there pointing at 3 different lines, making a triangle. He's got a horizontal plane triangle there for some reason. And it's actually orientated vertically. It's a mess. Now, how can anybody look at this and say this is a water level, horizontal, level being horizontal, this one here is what is required for you to be blue marble scientist. It's actually this bit here. If you want to join the blue marble science gang, then this bottom bit, this is for you. And this is where I think it's funny. I think this is comedy to me. I don't know why he would be saying this. He's only saying, Blue Marble's only saying this stuff publicly because we are here stating that level is obviously horizontal. Here's the proofs. Here's the mathematical proofs. Here's the logical proofs. Here's the understanding. Here's how simple it is for you to understand this. And now Blue Marble has to say this stupid shit.
The water is not flat. The water is curved. And the level point in each of the standpipes for the water level follows that dotted red line. And now if you sight from point A to point C, you're going to see water in that center one above the straight line distance, that straight line formed by connecting points A and point B, or A and C. This is where Bev has gone wrong, and he goes wrong every time. He makes the false assumption that 2 points is all he needs. Point A and point C define a straight line, and certainly they do. Therefore,
there you go. The two outside points form a straight line, 2 points. There you go. Done.
Or water is level. No, I'm sorry. Doesn't work like that.
Oh.
Put point B in the middle, and now you've got a couple of straight lines.
Put point B in the middle, and now you've got a couple of straight lines. So you sort of, what you're doing is you're getting the diameter, and you are putting a center point in there, like the center point. And now you've got two halves.
Are you sharing a stream or something, Bev?
I can't share these. It's just in Discord.
Okay.
It won't let me share them. Discord is being silly. Internal videos. So I'll have to put them up on. Oh yeah, I'm going over some videos. They're in Agents Live. There's only a couple of 30 seconds left on this one. They're only short videos. So apologies to everybody in the Discord. You can only go on YouTube and listen to it, and then you'll be minutes behind. So if you want to listen to them, and then we can talk about them after, they are in Agents Live.
You've got a straight line from A to B and a straight line from B to C. And that's, in reality, what's going to happen.
He's making triangles out of water level with the point in the middle and lifting it up. He's putting a hump. Blue Marble Science is definitely a hump guy. Doesn't go for the nutsack drop. No. Blue Marble lifts the center, puts a hump in the middle of the water level.
So, was everybody able to see that okay? This is what we're going to talk about.
So that Blue Marble. This is what Blue Marble thinks a water level does on his model. Look at all of these different horizontal planes. Whereas the the one that I think everybody would imagine a level to be, the horizontal plane. Yep, so those couple of videos there. And then now we're going into some of the other stuff. So that's what we have Blue Marble. That's my understanding of whenever I've talked to him. When we went over to his Blue Marble Science Frantic Bunny server to have I think we had quite a long discussion. We had a chat with PhD Tony. We had a chat with Alan. We had a chat with Blue while we were over there as well. Talked about Chaiki talked to us and told us about the room moving around Blue's balls. Yeah, we learnt loads while we were over there talking to them, and that's what we were all about. We went over there because people said that we don't go anywhere. So we did. We went over there, and now Blue Marble banned us all. A lot of people don't really like us going around there because of this logic thing, I think. People think we're hard to talk to, but I think it just makes it easier how to talk. Now, we think we touched on this last night. It's logic night. Now we've got a background of the one of the paralogists, right? A paralogist is pushing his paralogisms on everybody else. His faulty conclusions, his bad reasoning. We're going to go over Blue Marble and his awfully bad reasoning. So it starts off with the water level being a tool for establishing a horizontal plane. Blue Marble Science has this thing where they don't have horizontals. They don't know what a horizontal is. Their understanding of geometry, basic geometry, has a fundamental error when it comes to the perpendicular. Now, it might be because it's like a cross, and they are anti religion, I think. They don't like the idea of the cross. So that perpendicularity represents a cross, and they get really upset about that. They get cross at the idea of perpendicular. They can't have it. They can only have one straight line, and then the perpendicular to it has to be affected by G, a letter comes to the aid to bend one of the perpendiculars. So the perpendicular being a straight line is within Euclidean geometry, which is based on logic, and it seems that this new science doesn't need any of that logic. In fact, it doesn't want any logic. Logic is not advised. You need to shy away from it. You need to existential cognitive veil or veiling. You need to hide that logic process. But in saying this, Blue Marble, he said he has a proof that level is not horizontal. He's never shown it. He's never gone anywhere near showing it. He's done a lot. We call it doing a rumpus. Talk big and provide absolutely nothing. Zilch. So that's Blue Marble's done a rumpus. But just recently, he's decided, obviously, me and Blue Marble have had a chat. Blue Marble imagined that, I don't know, whatever, He then had a chat with Mobius, which we will have to go over again. Maybe go over that tomorrow. That might be a good day to go over Blue Marble and Mobius and how it worked. So he's just recently decided to have a chat with Mike in the YouTube comment section. If any of you have looked at the YouTube comment section, it's sort of gone away from that. Like me not watching any TV, I've also stopped going to comment sections. Who was that? Is that you, John? Not Mike. So, Blue Marble. I think we touched on this last night. He's been challenging himself to come up with an argument. I think he's slightly worried by the fact that we've said that they cannot formulate an argument in favour of the globe. Blue Marble's been trying, bless him. So this is Blue Marble Science. Now this came to me gifted. I didn't see this. This was on a YouTube comment section where Blue Marble has been talking to Mike, but I think this is a head comment. Like, this is one of Blue Marble's. He's put this, not in reply to anybody. This is just Blue Marble stated this. So this is Blue Marble attempting to have a logical argument. So he says, if he's going with the if there is only one plane of the horizon as you claim, brackets P, premise, then all zeniths, verticals, brackets to that plane, are parallel, Q. Zeniths, verticals are measurably not parallel, brackets not Q. Therefore, multiple non-parallel planes of the horizon exist, not P. Confirmed by empirical measurements, remains unchallenged and unrefuted. Blue Marble stating there that there are multiple non-parallel planes of the horizon.
Yes, even if he didn't say that these planes of the horizon are not parallel, it is implicitly involved, because if he is saying about divergent verticals, by necessity it means that these planes are not parallel.
Mm-hmm.
But he is not saying that
Yeah.
explicitly, but it is implicit in this statement.
Yeah, he says that verticals are measurably not parallel. Measurably.
Yes, but it implies that these planes are not parallel also.
Yeah,
But
well,
he's
like
not-
he doesn't see the implication is that there are no planes.
Well, where can we witness this?
You
I
can't.
would like to witness.
Blue Marble is stated measurably, and then he says at the end, confirmed by empirical measurements.
Exactly.
Well,
But we should be able to witness this somewhere.
I think we've already explained this the other week. When we went out to Blackpool, to Southport Beach, Blackpool Towers in the background, we did a shot so people could see what you can see over a certain distance. Now, I think Blue Marble is going to try and say that the guy that supposedly did those things at those distances are, let's say, the empirical measurements that he's going to be using. Well, It is impossible because there are a couple of guys that have told us this. One of them was George. George said about he was big on telling everybody how the T2 has an accuracy of 1 second, 1 arc second over any distance. But we pointed out that you can't see 1 arc second over that distance to measure it. That's why we went out to Southport to show that. Literally, that's what we went there for. So until Blue Marble actually shows any of these empirical measurements that must be able to be done by anybody to prove that horizontals aren't parallel. That's what Blue Marble's stating in this statement.
So this is a false statement by necessity, because it is obviously not measurable. You cannot measure if you cannot see. So, and you proved that you cannot see. Therefore, measurement cannot occur at all. For me, this is simple disproof. So this is just empty claim.
Like we said, this is the beginning of Blue Marble trying to formulate his argument, right? Is in its infancy, this one. But he says it remains unchallenged and unrefuted.
Yeah, and Brenda's stating here that it's been shown to you many times, Bev. Is that a fact, or is that just another empty statement?
Brenda, saying what?
In the live chat here, she says that we have shown them to you many times.
Shown that verticals aren't parallel.
Correct.
Wow, that's impressive. That's very impressive.
For me, if you cannot see at distance like 500 meters, so you cannot see these divergent verticals at all. So you cannot measure them. Therefore, this has to be a false statement that he measured.
Yeah.
And what distance between the verticals at what distance do they start to diverge? I know that's an impossible question to answer, but according to them, it should be immediate, should it not? There should be no parallel verticals if the ball was true.
Yeah, well, you keep saying that, but vertical is perpendicular to horizontal. So if you have a horizontal, then all of the perpendiculars to it will be parallel. Right. So what Brenda and Blue Marble are actually saying is there is no horizontal, because if you have horizontal, then perpendiculars to it will be vertical.
Right.
So that's all you need to establish is a horizontal. Hopefully Blue could get there, right? Because you could show people that it is impossible to establish a horizontal, because if a horizontal were to exist, then that would wreck Blue Marble's thing altogether. And in order to measure these measurements, you need to establish a horizontal. So talk about fallacies and fallacious statements. Stolen
just
concepts.
Like to also
go on.
Like to also mention that that doesn't even delve into the fact that you need a level to establish a horizontal. I mean, we're just talking about simply a horizontal.
Yeah.
That's a whole other ball of wax, talking about how you establish that horizontal. But that's another conversation, I guess, because
yeah.
We're just talking about the horizontal itself.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Just talking about the straight line and the perpendicularity, right, of the relationship of there being a straight line existing. If one of them's vertical, like they like to say, then the other one, perpendicular's horizontal. It's so... I mean, they've been doing this for years, and I'm pretty certain that they have a fundamental misunderstanding of the basic concepts of geometry. How the straight line forms the perpendicular, how that perpendicular relationship forms a square and two triangles with right angles, and exactly what a right angle is and how you form a plane. All comes from the basic concepts of geometry. That's what Blue Marble's dabbling with now, but it's very it's dangerous for the globe mind to dabble within geometry. It sends people mad.
Seems I came in at the right time. Have a look at the chat.
On which chat?
Live chat.
Yes, I am reading what Brenda is typing. But
I'm on Agents Live. I've got Blue Marble's attempts at arguments coming up. Well, yeah, what's Brenda saying? Go on,
He wants to be unmuted for one thing.
That horizontals do not refute what Blue said. You can construct a horizontal at every vertical, but on the globe model, you have no parallel verticals, and you cannot have horizontal plane.
Exactly.
So this is just impossible. So this is empty statement again from Brenda.
Definitely horizontal planes definitely exist. So what Brenda's definitely saying is that the model doesn't exist.
Yeah,
just like the non-existence of horizontal, because horizontal planes do exist, and we have had I can science that as well, confirm that if a water level establishes a horizontal plane, then there can be no globe. Horizontal planes definitely exist. Blue, no, I'm not in panic. No, Blue, I'm just talking about the same stuff we have forever, ever. Oh, this has always been like this, Blue. It's not me that are making these definitions. It's not me that have put the fundamental basics in geometry. That's not
How
me.
did she say that? She just typed in live chat, water levels do not establish a horizontal plane. How can anybody make that statement?
Model affliction. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty.
They can prove it to themselves with a water level.
No, they can't. They have no proof. They can't access logic. They've got this existential cognitive veiling going on. They can just blank it.
I love that.
Yeah.
You say you're an agent. Have a look what I just posted.
By the way,
talk about ECV. This is it. Have a look at tonight's show. What Blue is going to have on tonight's show.
Oh, Blue sent me a message earlier. Where's that? In which one?
I have it in live chat and I have in agents. His picture of the globe. He has his horizontal, his levels. You're going to blow your mind. And his verticals.
He's done it again. Yeah. He sent me a message, right? Yeah. From the other night. On. Let me see.
Put it on YouTube. Let people see this, man. Blue, what can I say?
Yeah, this.
By the way, if Brenda is saying that water level do not establish a horizontal plane, but outer level is establishing a horizontal plane, it means that water level and autolever are establishing two different planes.
Yeah, that's
It
wild,
has to be
huh?
it has to be proved that, for example, autolever establishes a horizontal plane, but water level should be a slope.
That's what Blue thinks. It's a slope. He does. Blue, he said in that video that we just went over, the one earlier, he thinks there's a slope. He thinks level is a slope.
But for me, this is just pyramidal nonsense, because they say, these globers, that they can establish horizontal at a point. So now they cannot establish horizontal at a point even.
When you put a ball down on your kitchen floor, does it roll to one side or the other?
This is
that's level.
Go over this thing I've got here on the chat. We'll get back to that in a minute. Blue, we don't need to have this discussion because we've already proved that level is horizontal, right? There's an obvious proof of that. It's Blue Marble that has the other proof that it isn't. He has to show that. But this is Blue from last night. Blue says, Bev, if you need to steal my videos for content, Blue says that. When we were going over his video, reviewing it, he thinks that's us stealing. Yeah, well, he's going to explain it, right? He says, try using the download or clip button. So he's saying, if you need to steal, Blue Marble says, if you need to steal his videos, download them or clip them. Don't go over them live. Because he was in the middle of editing the title or something. That's why he took it down last night. He says, you won't get kicked. I had no way of knowing you were broadcasting my content live from YouTube, even though he was in the chat when we were going over it. And I said that's what we were going over. So yes, Blue, you did know, and everyone knows you knew. This is all just for show, so Blue Marble can put a comment down and show everybody that he wasn't in the wrong. But yeah, Blue, you took it down because we were going over it. Everybody knows that. You were in the chat commenting about it. So if anybody wants to go and check out any of Blue Marble's videos, or like he says, if anybody wants to steal them, download them. Like Blue says, he tells you to do that.
Brenda says that doesn't mean he knew.
You won't get kicked out.
Because he was on the YouTube chat, so he knew. On YouTube, he could hear.
Not according to Brenda. Even though he was here in the chat, it still doesn't mean he knew.
Yeah, it's diletheism. We've got the team. They've got the Paralogism Advisory Council. This is one of their paralogisms, right? It wasn't Blue that it was at fault. It was somebody else. Probably me, right, Brenda? Like, Blue can't have ever done anything wrong. Blue's the guy that's going to prove that level isn't horizontal. He's got a lot of weight on his shoulders. Not only is Blue trying to disprove Euclidean geometry, he's also trying to prove that a water level isn't a tool for establishing a horizontal. This is historic, groundbreaking, and I'm amazed that it took 2022 and a guy that's messed about with balls in his shed is going to take on the big one. How to get around the argument, right? The one that nobody ever addresses, the one that everybody's always averted their gaze from. The big ECV, the great paralogism, that nobody dares look at. Blue marble is going to bring it out to the forefront for everybody to go over.
ECV for everyone.
Yeah. How are you going to hide?
ECV.
How are you going to hide from ECV when you've got the head honcho, big blue marble, rolling it about, going, everybody look at this, and they're going, no, Blue, no. We've been trying to keep it quiet. Don't want to talk about that. That's not what we're doing. No. And he's going, no, don't worry. I've got this. I can sort out a water level not being horizontal. I've got Brenda helping me. Got team on the go. Who else? Rumpus. Join the crew. Wally. Yeah. What about that Plato Chips from Twitter? He's obviously on the team. Sean Hawkins, I bet he'll help out. Wonderful team.
I can see him walking into a convention, and all the boys are sitting there and Blue saying, the next round of ECV is on me, boys. And they're all cheering. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so
can you just picture this? You say you had a big circular container that you filled with water. Okay, you literally got a ball of water, but it's contained. Now you had connections going to either side to a tub. And you knew the volume that it would take to fill the tubs up to a certain level. Now you open the taps on each connection from the ball of water. The water's going to run into the tubs, and you're going to have a straight horizontal line of water in the ball and in the tubs. I mean, if you set it up properly, if you know what I'm talking about, Beth. But what are they saying? You're not going to have curved water.
Blue thinks an even altitude means there's a hump in the middle. Directly in the middle of any two ends of a water level, there's a hump in the middle.
You can't prove that.
That's what he thinks horizontal is. Well, no, actually, I don't know. It's very hard to tell. I think the horizontal is the straight line, but then there's a hump that would be a measurable change from that horizontal. Like on the vertical scale, it would actually be the hump if the straight line is the horizontal that goes shortest distance. The measurable on the vertical from the horizontal. I don't think Blue's really worked out the basic, because the basic understanding of how these blue marble science, frantic bunny ears, scientists work, especially the big grandpappy. He's got to be the head paralogism advisor to everybody. Chief obfuscator. No, that's Brenda. The chief sophist, Blue Marble. He hands out paralogisms to everybody. Go out there and spread these. So Blue Marble has got into a conversation with Mike, and as you can see on the YouTube chat, it's quite a wall of text. It's a TLDR type situation, but we'll go over it because this is sort of the setup, right? The setup's already occurred, obviously, for Blue Marble to be able to write these essays on a YouTube comment, right? You know when somebody's troubled when they're writing 2 paragraphs on a YouTube comment. I used to struggle writing English things that long. So I'll read it out because it'd only be right. This is Blue Marble. He calls him Mickey. It's to Mike Jones. Shout out Mike Jones. It says Mickey as if that means anything. But nice try. Mickey, you're a real dumbass. That's how Blue Marble opens up a conversation with somebody. Like not using their name And then just a pure insult. Ad hom. Opening ad hom. So we're off onto a good start. Typical blue marble scientist type approach. GPS clearly shows the curvature of the surface of the Earth. GPS shows it. A GPS doesn't demonstrate, nor does it easily measure Earth rotation. And that's what I said. That's all I said. So no rotation then, at least within GPS. All I said, I've already shown this, and I highly suggest you watch the videos where I did it before you choked to death on your feet, both of which you just stuffed in your mouth. Very strange imagination that Blue Marble's got here.
He has to add a lot of extra text.
I know, yeah. I wasted my time talking to Bev about what his Blackpool observation shows. It showed that the guy that may or may not live in Maine is lying shit when he said that he could measure the verticals diverging by measuring an angle over a horizontal distance. I don't know. He like measured a horizontal distance. That's how we knew to walk 500 meters. And then said he could measure something that, I mean, he just couldn't. So that's what the Blackpool was. And I don't think Blue actually got to see that. That's part of the ECV, the existential cognitive veiling. He can't see the actual real test and what it was there to do. He can't acknowledge that. He has to make something else up rather than to see that. Bev had nothing whatsoever to offer. He had no idea how to explain a 100-foot departure from horizontal over 13 miles that his own pictures clearly show. Well, they don't. They just show the reason you should not use an auto level over an extended distance beyond the measurement capabilities to be able to keep it to 1 millimeter. But Blue's developed this into his own paralogism now, right? He starts off with the GPS and now he's working back to the geometry, and he's trying to confuse people in the GPS to the actual geometry and the straight lines. Yeah. And then he says, I followed that up by mopping the floor with Mobius. See, I told you this. I didn't even know this. I never read this. But yeah, this is what Blue Marble's happened. This is what has happened in his mind. Blue Marble came over. He had a chat with us about what Chaiki gave him. He found himself in aporia because he didn't know what he was that he was meant to be talking about. And he gave us the chance to show how the guy from Maine is definitely a lying shitbag. Paralogism advisor, right? But he's gone. That guy has left the arena, and now Blue is having to pick up all of this slack. I don't know why Blue's so involved in it. He must have been involved in it from the beginning. The big play, the big line. Blue must have been in it when they were setting all of this earlier stuff up. So he says, and now I've followed up by mopping the floor with Mobius, which he definitely didn't. We'll go over that. We'll do a Blue Marble Science week, and we'll go over Mobius tomorrow. Mobius and Blues. 4-hour thing. A clown that can't even explain what elevation is. Yes, he did. Blue, it's part of your existential cognitive veiling. You can't hear these things. when anybody ever explains or shows you a proof or anything about reality, you just have to blank it off, as do a lot of people. And it gets really awkward when you end up talking to somebody who just denies that you've answered them. Gets very old. There's Brenda does that too. Can't hear the answer to answer the question. Let alone explain why the LIGO elevations profiles clearly show Earth curve. They don't. All elevation profiles show an equal elevation lying along a horizontal plane. Every horizontal is parallel to every other horizontal in every elevation profile ever, with all of the perpendiculars to that horizontal plane being parallel at the beginning of the horizontal and at the end of the horizontal. The entire elevation profile is made up of perpendiculars of horizontal and vertical, and the elevation, the distance on that vertical datum showing the height of the land or whatever, the walls, anything, canals, all straight lines on horizontal planes, all of the horizontal planes being parallel. Blue Marble thinks that they're curved. This is where the diletheism comes in. Blue Marble thinks that horizontal curves, but he won't admit it.
And he thinks he did well against Mobius.
Yeah.
My God, it's comical.
And then he says, you aren't even bright enough to understand the argument, let alone refute it. So he's talking to Mike, right? He's trying to talk to Mike and say that he's done me. I'm Mobius, when Mike knows all well what happened in both of those conversations. So Blue Marble thinks he has an argument that Mike can't understand. So Blue Marble does imagine he has an argument, which is good for us anyway. Hopefully there will be more people to get along and do this. And then
let's keep.
Go on.
I was going to say, let's keep in mind that Blue, this is the same man that thinks there's a 90-foot hump of water in the Lake Pontchartrain. He thinks there's a 90-foot hump of water from one side to the other.
Yeah. Well, he's got rumpus, hasn't he? Because you know that the chat rumpus was going to have with you and Mobius that has now turned into a debate. He was going to tell you how the slope and the drop are the same as the hump.
Yeah.
But Blue Marble only has the hump.
Yeah, but they contradict each other because Blue has the hump, but doesn't Rumpus have the drop?
Well, Blue has the slope.
Well, Blue has a double slope. If you
Yeah.
look at LIGO. That's a whole different story right there. Yeah. They're all over the place.
He's got problems, right? They've all got problems, and that's why I don't think that they ever talk to each other. Even though Blue Marble has Rumpus over to co-host, or rather to host his Blue Marble live streams. It'll probably queue him with another one up.
Listen to the dialetheism. Blue believes that the canal next to LIGO drops at both ends. And he thinks the arm is obviously level with that water. But he also thinks that the arm of LIGO lifts on either end, and if you were to put a ball there, it would roll into the center. If you put a ball on either side of the arm, it would roll into the center. So if that's not dialetheism, I don't know what is.
You've got to be careful about doing that because Blue will say, he never said that.
Oh, he sure as hell has. He sure as hell has. And as a matter of fact, he was willing to bet me $10,000 of the drop 3 feet on either end. So he cannot say that. He knows he can't say that.
So the center, is that the center of each arm or the center of both of the arms? Who knows?
The center of each arm.
Of each?
Yeah, each arm. If you were to put let's say a ball on either end of the arms, it would roll into the center. I've heard Kosho say it. I've heard Zanuck say it. Blue has said it. I think even Rumpus has said it.
Yeah. Your
It's
balls
supposed to be the
rolling.
level arm.
Hard work.
I think even Brenda would agree to that one.
Well, this is Blue Marble's setting it up with. Don't ruin anything because he's setting up a thing with Mike. He wants to. Says here, when would you like your ass kicked, Mickey? Blue Marble.
I shall say no more.
He's queuing up a debate, Blue. So he says, I'll be happy to do just that. Since I've already presented the evidence in excruciating detail. The evidence. You get to go first. If you can explain how GNSS receiver works in some manner other than what has already been explained and documented, you need to present it. I don't know why he goes straight to the GNSS receiver rather than just the argument. It seems to have shifted. Blue. I'm not too sure. It's up to you to set it up, though. I'll give you all the time you need. You have to show how those receivers can trilaterate their position from 4 radio signals to give a centimetre accurate measurements of elevation above mean sea level, along with latitude and longitude. That's 3 then. 3 dimensions. So it's fancy that, isn't it? Yeah. Without the use of WGS84 ellipsoid or reference geoid. If you think you can do that, you're an even bigger fool than I think you are. So that's the setup. And then
that would be a steel man, no? A severe steel man.
Well, I don't know. Mike says then, when I asked him to formulate that disaster into an argument for his worldview, he came up with this. So, here we go. This is a Blue Marble argument. It says, if Mickey could refute the GNSS Pontchartrain data, P. I hope you're getting this paper because this is a good one, right? So if Mickey could refute the GNSS Pontchartrain data, P, he would. Q. Mickey has no clue how to do it, not P. Therefore, the GNSS measurements stand, not Q.
Wow.
That's... You can see the early conceptions of an argument, right? He's got an if. Therefore... Has he got an then? No.
This is invalid because from formal standpoint, because you cannot infer that this GNSS measurement stands because Mike doesn't know something. Even if it were true that Mike doesn't know something about this, stuff. It doesn't refute, it doesn't confirm that these measurements stand, because it would be proving from opponent's ignorance. This is nonsensical formulation of argument. It doesn't
Not
follow.
only that, he made the whole argument up. That's not Mike's position. So he steel man the whole thing.
Yes, I know,
Yeah.
I know, but that's why I said if Mike doesn't know, this cannot prove anything. It cannot prove that these measurements stand. It is not related. Someone's knowledge is not related if these measurements are true or not true. That's it.
Yeah, it's like me telling you, well, you were wrong about the wildebeest migration. And you're going to tell me, what the hell are you talking about? I wasn't talking about that. Yeah, but you were wrong. It was in May, not in February. What are you talking about? It's made up argument.
Well, let's listen to this then, because it gets better. I mean, we can go over that. We'll go over the argument a bit further when we've done this. He says, how about that one, Mickey? Because he's proud of that. How about that one, Mickey? You've listened to Bev a little too much, Mike. Oh, he's changed names. Got serious there for a second. Your word games aren't even amusing anymore. Admit the truth. Just like elevations at LIGO, the GNSS points along the bridge at Pontchartrain do not form a straight line in free space. 5.8,
Wow,
5.8, 5.8, 5.8. Not a straight line, according to Blue Marble.
Well, they have elevation that are higher on either end. I think we have a meme of that with them.
It says they do not match an arc with a radius of 6371. Change the numbers, aren't they? Go to kilometers. However, and that can only happen if the surface of that lake has the curvature of the Earth. You lost. Get over it. You lost. Like he's like, boom. Welcome to the globe. Dropping bombs. Blue Marble. Paralogism. Get it. Have that.
ECV for the boys.
Yeah.
And the girls.
Right. So, I mean, let's go over. I'll go give a quick my first inkling of an argument, right? If Mickey could refute the GNS Pontchartrain data, P, right? If he could, then he would. Like what?
Yes, if he could, then he would. That's great.
I mean, that's hardly a conclusion, is it? If then he would.
Yes, tautology. This is a tautological statement rather than argument.
And then he says, Mickey has no clue how to do it, which is, if Mickey could refute the GNS Pontchartrain data, the opposite of that would be if Mickey can't refute the data.
Yes, but that would be even I'd say correct, because that would, if you have no clue, it means that you cannot. This is kind of proving. It is called a fortiori. So from stronger argument. So
Okay.
being ignorant is
yes, he's negated, right? He's negated the first proposition, right, that he set out.
Yes.
Right
Yes,
now,
he's
then he goes to not Q, which he says, therefore, the GNS measurements stand. Well, his Q was he would, not that the measurements stand. He's not even took the Q.
Yes, that's why this is non sequitur, because someone's ignorance cannot disprove anything. So
Yeah, but his not Q is not a not Q. Is it? He's put, therefore, he's put his conclusion and said the conclusion, not Q.
Yes, he is refuting in wrong order.
Yeah.
Because he is just refuting not P. And from P doesn't follow necessarily that the Q can happen, because if Mike could refute, it doesn't mean that he did.
Yeah.
Necessarily. So it has to be or Mike did refute or he didn't. Just it.
Well, wouldn't would, right? He sounds very what do you say? Different sorts of logic.
Yes, this is
would isn't very direct, is it? It's not a mathematical type statement, is it, to put within a logical framework, right? And then to say not Q because the GNS measurements stand, which is he would.
Yes, this is wrong Q. So in first place, this first Q is wrong because it is like tautological statement. But second, it is not Q.
Yeah.
So he's just linking two separate statements into one, and he's suggesting that this not Q is related to this Q by negation, but it isn't. Just gibberish. This is not logical statement at all.
It's in the formulation. It's the beginnings of these ideas coming into Blue Marble's head, right? This is Blue Marble science logic. He's formulating it on the fly. He's never done this before, and it's quite obvious that nothing makes sense. And I'm pretty sure this is existential cognitive veiling Blue Marble science logic. It's a way of addressing some sort of logical issue by making an argument that doesn't make any sense whatsoever, but will be accepted for the globe.
Yeah,
I would say
this is only by Blue Ops.
Yeah,
I'm sure it has Blue Ops written all over it.
I would say that first attempt can be faulty. Give him a chance to do it better in the future. First time, okay, he felt miserably, but still there is a hope that he can improve. Maybe.
Yeah, I still from that I'm thinking he wants to formulate an argument about GNSS measurements, which may be a little bit tricky because you'd have to sort of go with exactly how the measurements are taken from GNSS, wouldn't you, in order to be able to refute the data. You can't just have a load of data, because like Jesse Kozlowski showed a load of data to show that the bridge was around about 5.8 meters all the way across. It's just Blue Marble that's stating that it's a curve. Maybe somebody's told him it's a curve. But he seems to think that the baseline for all of the measurements, the horizontal plane, he thinks that curves, I think. But, I mean, only Blue Marble can state that. It does get very confusing. Like Brenda was saying, they don't actually have a horizontal plane in their model. It doesn't exist. So the horizontal plane that they're talking about might curve in their minds, or in between their mind and... I don't know. I don't know how it works. But Blue Marble is starting off with the verticals. He said he was going to do a video. Probably get Rumpus to help him. About verticals not being perpendicular to the same horizontal. I don't know exactly how to express it. I think that's what Blue Marble's setting up though, right? That verticals can't be perpendicular to the same horizontal plane, which is how they're measured, as being perpendicular to horizontal. So I'll leave Blue Marble to go over that one. But this is the Blue Marble science. Frantic bunnies. I mean, like, frantic. Because they're going against geometry. Of all of the things that you thought might have been solid and real, concrete things that could keep your mind in order, things like triangles and being different to squares, being different to circles, not to Rumpus, not to Blue Marble. They're the same thing. Circle, triangle, square. They've said it many times. Blue Marble has also pointed out that the other day about differential leveling, cancelling out curvature, but we had a presentation that we might need to go over that seems to refute what Blue Marble states about that. Now, I don't know about how these people feel about speaking about people who are past, but Blue Marble seems to have shit all over what George was doing. And we might go over it if it needs to.
So they're using that new magic word zenith a lot now.
Vertical.
They're trying to hijack the vertical, the plumb, for zenith. This is their new method. Everybody beware.
Yeah. Zenith and nadir are old terms meaning the up and down part of the vertical. Nadir is to your feet and the zenith is up. They're just a way of separating the up and the down of vertical. But I don't know whether they actually imagined that the nadir to turn back into a zenith.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they can easily imagine that one. Actually, everywhere is nadir and everywhere is zenith, if you want to look at it that way for them.
Yeah, I think they're struggling for that sort of stuff. We've got some other stuff here. This is Blue Marble kicking Mobius. you're going to get exactly the same treatment. This is Blue Marble when he left this server, quite funnily. He was being a bit lippy towards the mods, Blue Marble. Mobius said, watch what you're doing, Blue. So Blue Marble said, your boy is getting his ass kicked, so you want to give me a warning? F off and watch this. And then he left. That was because he was getting a bit ad hommy and talking to people. So Mobius gave him a bit of a warning.
Can't believe that what he drew on that Blue Marble. I'm still cracking up over it.
Right, check this one out. The conversations get a bit more with, if you can go over any of the videos and all of that. This one here says, this is Blue Marble again, stating to Mike, no, I'm stating as a fact that every elevation profile ever drafted by every architect / engineer and used to construct every construction project ever features a horizontal x-axis representing level and a vertical y-axis representing plumb. That's Blue Marble stating that. Or is he quoting it? Who knows? He's just stated that though. And he's right, right? Every elevation profile ever drawn uses a horizontal and a vertical. And the horizontal is classed as level and the vertical is classed as plumb, measured on the vertical datum. Elevations. He says, you have the engineering understanding of a typical bookkeeper, and your obvious lack of knowledge leads you to say stupid things like this. This is Blue Marble stating this. Elevation is a particular height above or below some datum. 100 feet above mean sea level is the same elevation at every point. The elevation profile can be drawn against a mean sea level of 0, which can be a straight line, an arc, a circle, or any other line of your choice. I'll state that again. This is Blue Marble science, this, right? Frantic bunny ears when I'm saying this, not me. I'm saying it, but I'm just reading out what Blue Marble has wrote in a comment. So don't take this as me saying this. I'm not saying this. I'm saying it because this is what Blue Marble has wrote. Elevation is a particular height above or below some datum. 100 feet above mean sea level is the same elevation at every point. The elevation profile can be drawn against a mean sea level of 0, which can be a straight line, an arc, a circle, or any other line of your choice.
So he's saying mean sea level can be any of those things.
Any line you want. Well, lines are straight in geometry, so like straight line, right? But he says it can also be an arc or a circle.
Yeah, so how do you determine what mean sea level is if it's different things? What you're using at that time doesn't make any sense.
Dionysius. I've been of the opinion, right? I've done the surveying, differential leveling. You measure a vertical scale. That's where the measurements are actually taken. Reference to a horizontal. Not a circle and not an arc. You get a tool called a level, and that determines a horizontal plane, and then you measure the difference in between these horizontal planes that are done. Some very easy concepts and some basic methods that are used in order to employ this. There's a way to check the tool is horizontal to start off with, and then you can progress on using parallel horizontals. Very simple. But Blue Marble says it can be any line, but you can't. You can't keep the same distance if you curve it. That's very basic. But again, part of the ECV, they cannot address this in any conversation ever. Just try it with them. One of them will say, well, I didn't say that's Blue Marble. You're talking about Blue Marble? Why are you talking about Blue Marble? You're talking to me. And they won't talk about it because Blue Marble's the one that said it. And obviously they can't be dropped in the shit by Blue Marble. They might not say what Blue Marble's going to say. But Blue Marble doesn't even know what he's going to say. Blue Marble's looking round now to find his own paralogism advisors to tell him what he needs to be able to say to refute Euclidean geometry into reality.
The Blue Ops Paralogism Association will have a session tonight.
It's the Blue Ops Paralogism support team.
Yeah.
He needs other people to come and help him. He's lost. He's wandering about in Aporia now, wondering how he's going to do it. How he's going to imagine he can tell other people that he's the authority on all of this sort of stuff. Blue Marble is the frontier man leading of bendy horizontals. He's setting it up here now. This is say the elevation profile can be drawn against the mean sea level of 0, which can be a straight line, an arc, a circle, or any other line of your choice. Pick a line, any line. A straight line makes drawing the profile east to do with simple equipment. A curved line truly representing the shape of the Earth would require every elevation to also be curved with a different radius. That is essentially impossible to draw with manual tools. This is Blue Marble. Blue Marble is actually saying here that they've only done it because it's too easy, right? It's too hard, right? To actually put the curve in the horizontal like Blue Marble requires them to. Blue will be the man to do it, no doubt. With modern computer stuff, they could be redoing elevation profiles of everything by now. You'd have thought so, wouldn't you? Maybe Blue can get a thing, he'll get a bit of a trade going.
Well, that's all they do, isn't it? And elevation profiles.
Yeah, give us your elevation profile. Give us your old elevation profiles. We'll make them new. Blue Marble science.
Do you need an unclamping of your elevation profile? Give us a shout.
Wow. Yeah, he is it. Curved line truly representing the shape of the Earth would require every elevation to be also curved with with a different radius. That is essentially impossible to draw with manual tools. That radius might be hundreds of feet for a 30-second segment of the arc, depending on scale. representing elevations this way has been the standard convention for at least hundreds of years. It's talking about horizontals and verticals being perpendicular. And that's old school, right? Hundreds of years. It does not suggest that the Earth is flat. No, it shows you that it isn't. There's elevation changes. That's fucking stupid, Blue. Definitely shows that there are elevation changes, i.e. not flat. Take that out of your mind. Don't worry. It's definitely not flat. Elevation profiles show it. In fact, no civil engineering course or surveying curriculum has ever or will ever say that elevations are not following the curvature of the Earth. If you can find one that does, post it. Otherwise, drop this bullshit, Mike. Every elevation profile and every architect will always have it as a horizontal base. That's a simple fact.
If it's not, then it's a slope, and everyone knows that.
Yeah.
If it's not horizontal, then it's a slope. Yeah.
And he is again using argument that some manuals are not saying something. If they are not saying something, therefore they are not saying. So,
yeah,
this is reverse from negation. It's fallacy, of course.
Yeah, that's sad to see Grandpappy Big Blue Marble, the Blue Marble science leader, the head honcho, the head priest, the chief priest over there at Blue Marble Science. He's letting his subjects know the way that it has to be now, right? So Blue Marble has waved his magic wand and said, let this be the paralogism. Go out and find me a bendy horizontal.
Please, someone.
Well, yeah, he's crew. He's got Rumpus. He's got Brenda. He's got Plato Chips. He's got Brad the Science Guy. He's got at least 4 or 5 people with him.
It's this local, though, isn't it? You know, elevation drawings locally.
Well, some of those Canal things are quite long, aren't they? I mean,
oh, sorry, of course, yeah, of course. Oh, the Canal, yeah, that's different.
I mean, the elevation profile of the Suez Canal. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's 100 miles.
Many times.
Yeah. There's no curvature in that, is there?
Yeah, but most people think of elevation drawings purely for, well, because, you know, the construction industry, you know, plans.
Well, they must have known that elevation profile because they didn't put any locks in it. I mean, they weren't scared of all of the water emptying out of one ocean and going in the other, were they? It's not like one of them was a big... Do you reckon they were shitting themselves when they were doing it?
Well, not that they'd meet differently, but maybe the effects of one sea being linked to another. I think they were probably...
You reckon they didn't know how a water level works?
I'm 100% sure they did.
Yeah, I reckon they know how the Suez Canal works, and there's no hump in the middle of that, Blue, is there? 100 miles. I mean, how big that hump would have to be in the middle if you go with Blue Marble Sciences geometry.
Over 300-400 feet, easy, I would say, without blinking. If 24 miles is 90 feet, right?
Yeah.
That would be easily 4 times.
Well, yeah, but yeah, quadratic function to it. Yeah.
10,000 times 6 inches.
4 times 9.
60,000 inches.
Damn.
Mm.
You think those big container ships would have a problem?
It's a drop from each end as well, isn't it? You know, I mean, Blue's got the slope and the hump. It's hard work. It's a good job we've got the dilithiists on side, right? Because I mean, I think there must be some sort of a sonata or some sort of a soothing song that the dilithiists can sing to each other about how to make these contradictions just disappear. Gone. Pretend it wasn't there. Chuck the veil over it. Hide them in there. There's got to be different ways of people doing this.
They can have their sweet dreams are made of these songs, something like that.
What, that a level canal elevation drawing is somehow not that?
Yeah. Both a hump in the middle and a drop from either end at the same time.
No. Whatever's on that bit of paper, it's not that.
Yeah. Yeah, Blue Marble's got a proof that it's not that. He says. He's got a proof that level is not horizontal. Even though the tool, the level, the auto level, establishes a horizontal.
Be like that Australian guy approaching some people to come and survey something for him, and I don't think you got any response. Was it 10? As many as 10? Well, at least 3 companies to go out and do something that no one would ever do.
Yeah.
So they never got. Still waiting, I think. Probably.
Yeah. Yeah, so we will be focusing on Blue Marble this week, since Blue Marble is the one that seems to be leading the charge. I mean, we have had being in this server and going over these basic concepts like we've had I would consider all of the internal group of leading the Paralogism Advisory Council, the PAC, as we call them, in here to talk to us about how they imagine a water level works on their globe model. And they come up against contradictions almost immediately. Like this. Blue Marble has a hump in the middle, but then he imagines there's a slope at either end. Then he imagines he's stood at a canal, like in reality, and the water either side drops away from him. He always imagines he's stood on the hump.
We had a few like that, didn't we?
Yeah.
We spoke to a few like that. I think on top of it.
They're always on the top, yet whenever you think of a water level and 2 ends, then the top always becomes the middle.
Well, yeah, they say the water level, which has got 2 ends, it should be red in the middle somewhere. Somehow, I don't know how they figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
Can't be seen from the end. You can't look at the ends. Only the middle is level. Like,
yeah.
Absolute. Yeah. Well,
doesn't make any sense, does it?
Nonsensical.
Nonsense. And yeah, that's what we're dealing with nowadays. Is boomers, Boom Marble, just getting triggered when we say basic facts about level and horizontal, and plumb and vertical being perpendicular to each other. Plumb is perpendicular to level. Horizontal is perpendicular to vertical. That comes as a necessity of geometry by having a straight line. And as we've heard, some people within this blue marble science seem to think that these straight lines can't exist, which means perpendiculars can't exist, which means right angles can't exist, which is a load of bullshit, because they do. We have them, we use them. It's necessary for us to use the straight line to be able to communicate things, shapes to each other.
That's how important the horizontal is when measuring.
Mm-hmm.
You can measure from one point to another, but unless it's horizontal, if what you're measuring is horizontal and you measure it horizontally, that's like perfect, right? Like
that's the shortest distance, isn't it?
Yeah.
The horizontal.
Yeah. If you got a tape measure and measured between the top of the water levels each end, that is the straightest, distance.
Shortest distance.
Most accurate.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Shortest distance.
Yeah.
Anything other than that won't be accurate.
It's a slope. It's a hypotenuse, isn't it? You would use the horizontal and the vertical to be able to measure how much longer that other side is with the slope. The fact that you measure no vertical change shows that that distance is on a horizontal.
Bev, sorry, just to cut in. There's a thing I don't understand. Blue marble science, he sees the hump, and then Rumpus sees the drop. Do these guys not contradict themselves, or what's the story there? I don't understand.
Yeah, they have this diletheism, which allows them to do away with contradictions. They can't see contradictions like you or I. It's just you've got to put your mind in a completely different place. Detach it from reality. Go, everything that you know about reality, just think, not that. And then you'd be close to the globe as you could get.
Yeah, I just thought it was funny because everybody knows the difference between a hump and a drop.
Well, yeah, but they have people like Rumpus that says they're the same thing.
A hump and a drop is the same thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Even though, like you say, everybody knows there's a difference between them. Now, there are people out there with the blue marble science tag. You can normally tell them they're very loud. They're very overpowering. They come with no arguments. And they definitely don't talk any logic. And another sign is like that you say, they cannot see contradictions. When shown a contradiction, a blatant contradiction, they will deny it's a contradiction.
Yeah,
and it's usually the best thing they do is well, hold on, it would be now, wouldn't it? 2 secs. Sorry.
No problem.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're a funny sort. They're a funny sort, kind of people, And if they can't see the contradictions, you can't have a real debate. Like, you can't.
Well, I'd say there's a contradiction if you're going to put up a picture and show between A and C that there are 3 different horizontal planes in between 2 points. I mean, that's bad. I mean, you could have multiple horizontal planes being parallel, but to form a triangle, 3 different horizontal planes at different angles to each other, sounds a little bit ridiculous to me, and the consequences of saying that is bendizontal, which we spot on. We said right at the beginning. That was one, I think, one of the realizations that we went through at the beginning was spot on, realizing to himself, right, that the only way out that these guys are ever going to have, when you start looking at verticals not being parallel, the only way out that these guys can have is to bend horizontal. Conceptually, because obviously it's never going to bend in reality. Everybody knows a horizontal plane is two-dimensional, right? It's on a plane, all of the straight lines lying on it, but they need it's required for that to be curved, bent in some way. That's where bendizontal came from.
Say these people were involved in like a life and death game. You put them in a room, and in order to get to the next step, you have to answer the questions correctly. And the first question they're asked, and if they don't answer it correctly, they drop through the floor or into a pit of whatever. But the first question they're asked, the standing water curve, how will they answer?
Well, you'd have to ask them. I don't like answering things for other people.
And they have to answer correctly. How will they answer? You think the contradiction will be gone at that point?
They'd probably use their sophistry, I'd say. Talk their way out of it.
Mm-hmm.
No, they have to answer the question.
Another good question is, when does horizontal bend? Like at what point? When does it bend?
Exactly. You know, I think they would answer the question correctly if their life depended on it. My opinion.
The
model runs deep. I was just going to say earlier, sorry, before I said the sheet there. Well, someone was calling me and something happened. But anyway, misrepresenting just about most things you say. That's what I was going to say they're best at. Sorry. But yeah, Karen.
Well, half of the reason that we say these things is because they were doing that when we weren't saying it, right? They're the ones that have these paralogism advisors, the ones that hand out all of the bullshit about us. So we went live so we can talk to people and we can show them how we talk about things and how simple we can make it and exactly what we're like. Everybody can quite clearly see when they go back on the videos. There's none of this stuff is scripted. And we normally don't even come in with any script at all. Just a basic concept of where we're going to go. So this is raw. This is how we are. Like, this is how I am anyway. And I know most of nobody else comes with anything scripted from our side anyway. We just this is how we are. If you want to come and get involved in it, which I would advise anybody that please do. What these guys say about us is just unfounded. They like to think it's a way of them hiding their the cognitive veiling. They can just if they can hide it behind a paralogism that somebody else tells them, and they can imagine something about us, then they're much easier with doing that. And we're left here just talking about stuff and things like we do. Open to everyone. Well, that's a bit of a short one tonight. That 2 hours, all right. Now, the idea is to try and hopefully expose all of this existential cognitive veiling. The way that people can't address the issues. Like Blue Marble now, he's saying that the elevation profiles, every elevation profile that's ever been done, there's something wrong with it. They didn't do it correctly because it was too hard for them to do it. So they did it a simple way, that seems to mean that the perpendicularity goes with Euclidean concepts, which is what I was taught when I did surveying. Differential leveling and measurement on a vertical to tell an elevation change. All of the elevation profiles. I mean, look at, Mike's got these ones. These are old ones from America. Look at that. Scale on the side. All of the different locks of the canal coming across the river. There you go. There's a profile.
Doesn't he?
That's beautiful, that, isn't it? Lake Erie.
It's my neck of the woods, guys.
Yeah. That is a nice, though. That's you could have that easily framed on a wall, couldn't you?
Yeah.
And they would. I mean, they're wrong, though. Blue Marble says these guys are wrong about this.
How can you say that? It's just ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah.
If any of those measurements anywhere in that section were any different than what they are, then it wouldn't work. It's like all has to be horizontal parallels. You can't have something in
how
there
would
that you can't
check
see.
Blue Marbles, right? I mean, he says this. So you could say, well, the drop should be the same from either end. So you could measure that. Go from one end and to the other end. Just measure the drop of how far the end is. You start at the Suez Canal would be the best one to start at, wouldn't it? Just measure the drop from either end, and then you should be able to go to the center and measure the drop to the ends. Obviously, you would have the quadratic function to make it impossible. But I mean, it's worth a challenge, isn't it?
I think they skipped on a lesson.
Yeah, of how quadratic functions work.
Of quadratic functions work on a whiteboard.
You've got to have the full drop from either end. And you've got to be able to go to the center and measure the half quadratic drop and get that to fit with the other ones to be able to say, yes, this is what happens mathematically. This is definitely true. That's what Blue Marbles lined himself up for, I think.
And you did tell these head surveyors about this as well. I mean, you did mention.
Well, they'll have known about it for years, hundreds of years. They just wouldn't have been able to present it like Blue Marble's going to be able to. They were waiting for.
We won't bother with this one. It's only a short one. How big is that? How long? Sorry, how long is that? That Lake Erie one. Can't quite see them, are you?
Yeah. Let's go with the Suez, right?
Yeah.
That's much easier from one end to the other. Blue Marble could do a drop profile and a drop profile, and then one from the center that works with the quadratic function to each end to show exactly with Rumpus how they are the same. That would be good, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Mission impossible.
Yeah.
You cannot add when you are squaring, so it doesn't fit.
The impossible task. Blue Marble has set himself. Maybe we should make a video about that. I reckon that's part of the existential cognitive veiling, though, right? They won't be able to talk about it because it's Blue Marble that's going to do it for them.
They cannot do that because they would expose that they are confusing adding and multiplying. So this is just like first grade, preschool maybe. So I don't know.
When I first came into this, right, and we heard that, it's something immediately went to my head and thought, the worst thing they could ever do is to give some sort of mathematical function for something that should happen on their model, because that is easily disproved with easy logic. It's a quadratic function. That quadratic function doesn't work if you divide it into parts. Just, it ceases. It makes it literally impossible. And how anybody didn't notice that is shocking to me. Because nobody can address it still. Everybody imagines that they're not clever enough to understand the mathematics behind it. But it's a quadratic function. It's got a square function in it. It is just a J-Ro, thanks for J-Ro. It's just a part of the Pythagorean triples. Even their model is based upon Euclidean concepts of the circle and the triangle. The relationship between the circle and the triangle is the fundamental basics of what Euclidean geometry is founded upon. How the proofs are made, the double checks, the logical formulations with 0 flaws running all the way through it. That's Euclidean geometry. That's based upon the circle and the straight line and the relationship between those straight lines along with the diameter of that circle, and how you formulate right angles within that triangular formulation, perpendiculars, how you form all of these using arcs and points around a certain distance away from other points. That is the formulation of Euclidean geometry. What Blue Marble is attempting to do is to disprove that, along with well, I think he's going to have to disprove that, because if he's trying to use that to disprove the horizontal, then that would be a stolen concept. That would be ridiculous. I'm not so sure Blue Marble's actually thought this through. He's been pushed into it like many other people before him. Not coping, not able to cope with this. Geniuses have crippled themselves mentally trying to do this. But I don't even know whether they can call themselves geniuses. You can't do it. If you have a straight line, you can formulate and make a perpendicular and a plane from it. And if you can make a plane and then a perpendicular, then you've set up your X, Y, and Z axis. There's no space for any more. You can't start adding extra angles into a triangle. It's just not possible. But, hey, Blue Marble. I noticed Brenda's in here. Has anybody got anything else they want to say? And before we, because it is Logic Night, and Blue Marble obviously can't come in on his own, so Brenda will be in to represent Blue Marble within the logical framework. Brenda's the expert argumenter. Probably Blue Marble's dialythist, dialytheist advisor to rid contradictions, like shoo them away with a broom, sweep them away. Anybody got any final words? Because Brenda's being uncaged. There you go, Brenda. Welcome. You have come to defend Blue Marble's argument, have you? Did he send you in? Left. You're not around, Brenda. You've not been listening.
Maybe ordering pizza again.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, Brenda. Just jump in whenever you get triggered, right? Make sure to let everybody know that you're just coming in with whatever you want to say whenever you get triggered. So we'll carry on going on about Blue. Yeah, Blue Marble science. When we came into this, the first I'd ever heard of Blue Marble within the arena was when Nathan Oakley was promoting him. He was brought into the fold by the Flat Earth debate team, and particularly Sleeping Warrior, because Sleeping Warrior brought Blue Marble in with the pipe, the gas in the pipe. He promoted him quite well. So that's where we heard Blue, where I personally heard of Blue first. But we've been back since. He's not been in it that long. Around about this similar sort of time on YouTube as when I started on YouTube with Blue Marble. And he obviously, to take on the title Blue Marble Science, I mean, everybody knows the Blue Marble. At least that one that artist made. Forget his name. That one. Oh, he had to stitch a few things together and tweak a few bits. That's the Blue Marble. And then for Blue Marble science, to add science to a ball or an artist's impression thing that somebody had made. He did that. He even trademarked it, I think, or copyrighted it on one of his pictures. I don't know how long that lasted for. So yeah, Blue Marble science, and we have been talking to people about this because we've been hearing quite a lot about this bunny is science denying, and I don't know what that means, because to me science is the acquisition of knowledge and how that's passed on to each other, explaining the methodology behind how that knowledge is gained. Basically the passing on of proofs through methods of argumentation to show a method and a process. If we do this, then this happens, type thing, which should be shown. Well, that's, to me, that's science. And for somebody to say that I'm denying that, it sounds a little bit ridiculous. It sounds like we've got a differing idea of what science is, which brings in the blue marble science idea, that's the science that they say we're denying. But as far as I know, there is no science to the blue marble. It's stuff that they make up. So they're saying basically that we are denying that they're made up stuff, but they can't show us their made up stuff. So we're denying, like Narnia. That's what they're doing. They've got this concept of something. They don't know how to express it outwardly. And then they just end up saying, well, you're denying it. Which, yeah, definitely. But that's not science. That's only this really small group of people and their particular idea of what science is. Rather weird to think about it, really.
Basically, you're just denying the unsubstantiated claims that they present as science. You're not denying science itself. It's the unsubstantiated claims that they like to present that way. Then they go to you as being a science denier just to give you that label.
Blue Marble has said that he's got a proof that level isn't horizontal. Well, where's the science for that? Like, where is their science? Or just saying something is their science? I mean, like, it's not, like, the point is, it's definitely not the science that I know, because how could I deny knowledge? How could I do that? If somebody gave me a method and went, look, if you do this, then this happens. How could I deny that? So it's obviously not that science, right? This is the blue marble science. And trying to get to the bottom of what the blue marble science is why we're here. These guys say something, and then we go through a process to prove that it's a load of bullshit.
Yes, and this process is science.
Yeah, that's science.
Disproving bullshit is science.
Yeah. And what they're doing is they're saying, you disproving our bullshit is you denying our blue marble science, right? Just making up shit.
Yes, so if blue marble science is different than normal science, it means that one of them has to be not real science. And it is proven that blue marble science is not real science. So denying blue marble science, we are using normal science. Therefore, normal science is real science. Thank you very much.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much. Take a bow. And that's dead right. That's where I wanted to get to. Blue marble science isn't science. Blue marble science is just making shit up. Not the person, although he probably is just making shit up as well. But the actual blue marble science isn't the same as science.
And it is proven that he is science denier. So it is rather proven already.
Yeah.
But we can repeat that this blue marble science is, or better to say pseudoscience, because it pretends pretends to be science, but maybe has some appearance of science on the surface, but it is only pseudoscience.
Well, I just frantic bunny ears, right? Like
Yes,
that's the not, isn't it? You know, the not science type thing. And therefore, everybody knows that they're very, very fond of the not that within Blue Marble science. So it makes sense that the science is not that science as well, but just unstated, not that. Implied, not that, always within Blue Marble science. Sarigaki says it again. Law of identity always comes down to the very basics. This is a law of identity of science. Part of the existential cognitive veil in the ECV. They can't address these things. What is science? It's a tricky question for somebody who has to go beyond the realms of science to explain their science. They can't.
The same thing is with geometry.
Mm-hmm.
You can just superpose word science with geometry, and the proof will be the same. So if the geometry, Euclidean geometry, is the only one we have, and this is the only one which works. So if they are saying that this is non-Euclidean geometry, it means that this is not geometry. So geometry cannot be at the same time not geometry, because it breaks law of identity. So it means that this is not geometry.
God, you're stupid.
This is good inferring. This is irrefutable inferring.
Yep.
Sure, go. So type it out and let's see.
Law of identity problem. There you go. Always gets to it.
Yeah, type it out. We'll see. We'll check.
Something can't be. Well, it's normally a law of non-contradiction, isn't it?
It is involved. They are going. They are going along together.
Mm-hmm.
No, type it out. Type out your proof that non-Euclidean geometries are not geometry.
Because I said that Euclidean geometry is the only one that we know.
Prove it. Prove it.
No. All of them. There's a book of them, Brenda. You've got nothing to counter it.
What do you mean?
Well,
there's lots of other geometries beside Euclidean.
Where's the proof?
What are you talking about?
What proofs have you got? What's your best proof of another geometry?
All I have to do is point to one.
So point. So do that.
Go on, yeah. Go on.
Yeah.
Point at it. Point at one non-Euclidean geometry.
Riemann geometry.
Uh-huh.
There you go.
Would you be pointing at it in a straight line?
I'd point at it with a finger.
Yeah, in a straight line. Going like there.
So this Riemann geometry is denying, for example, straight lines or not? Or you don't know? Is he redefining straight lines?
A straight line would be defined as the shortest distance between 2 points.
Yes, it is the same as in Euclid. So if he has...
No, it's a generalization.
A generalization of a straight line.
Yeah.
So his definition of straight line does not differ from Euclidean definition.
It's a generalization. It's a generalization of a line, right?
A straight line.
Yes, straight line.
Straight is undefined.
It's not. It's
It is defined.
definitely defined. That which lies evenly between its extreme points. There you go. Like a diameter. Because a diameter is definitely straight, isn't it, Brenda?
Euclid didn't define straight lines.
You know,
Yes,
pi.
he did.
You know, pi, Brenda. Diameter's definitely straight, isn't it? ECV, Euclidean geometry, Euclidean cognitive veiling.
You're gonna reply or not? You're gonna reply or not?
I'm gonna say it's a straight line. Yeah, a diameter is definitely a straight line, isn't it, Brenda?
Why are you desperate? Why are you desperate to change the topic?
I'm going to show you definition of straight line directly.
By Euclid.
By Euclid, yes.
Give me the one by Euclid.
Yes, by Euclid, yes. Give me a second.
Because a straight line is a line which lies evenly within the points on itself. Definition 4. That's not his. That was added. That's not Euclid's. It was added later.
No.
Yeah, it was.
Why I said that which lies evenly between its extreme points. Saragaki's put it in the live chat there. What's yours, Brenda?
Yeah. That's what I want to know.
Saragaki's put it in the live chat, Brenda. A line is that which lies evenly between its extreme points.
Yeah. What's the source?
Euclid.
That's not Euclid.
What is Euclid then?
That's a piece of paper that you got on the internet.
It's not. It's the book that I've got in front of me.
Yeah, but it was yes.
Yes.
How do you know it wasn't added?
Yes. It's
edition?
a straight line, Brenda.
What edition of the book do you have?
It's a straight line, Brenda. The fundamentals of geometry. Do you think there may be something wrong with a straight line being defined as being straight?
Were those added later?
What, a straight line?
Oh, were things added to Euclid's
Which
books
one are you talking about, Brenda? Show yours.
Were things added
There's
to
you asked for the definition. You said it was undefined. It's there in the definitions.
That's guilt. That's guilt right there. Bev knows he's trapped. Bev
No, you asked. You said, Brenda. You, dialetheist Brenda, said a straight line is undefined. We said no, it's not. It's definitely defined within Euclid. Here is that definition for you.
Euclid's definition. I asked for Euclid's definition.
That's the definition in Euclid's Elements, Book 1.
I suggested that things could have been added after Euclid, and you panicked. You ran like a bitch.
Would that make them not true?
There isn't any truth. It's a system.
What was there before they added in number 4, then, Brenda?
Euclid didn't define straight lines.
It's there in the definition.
Yes, they added it after
Who added it?
Does that make it not true?
Heron of Alexandria. Heron of Alexandria.
So what was there before it then, Brenda?
Nothing. He didn't define it. Heron was trying to explain things to dumber people, right? He was trying to make it simpler for dumber people.
No, you are wrong.
Hundreds of years later.
You are wrong. I have edition where every definition is compared.
You have a facsimile of a definition of an edition.
Brenda has
So,
the correct one.
yes, so he's talking everything about pre-existing definitions, differences between definitions, authors of definitions, and this definition 4 is originally from, in this wording, is from Euclid, because others
It's not.
defined straight line differently. For example, Plato defined the straight line as that of which the middle covers the ends. So this is Plato definition. And in a second, I will read about Proclus definition.
Heron of Alexandria lived about 300 years later. This was a much dumber time. Fewer people were capable of appreciating the great accomplishments of the Hellenistic era. To this end, Heron tried to make Euclid's elements more accessible to a less sophisticated audience who didn't have the background knowledge and understanding that Euclid's original readers had. Heron therefore explained that a straight line is a line which uniformly in respect to all is a straight line is a line which uniformly in respect to all its points lies upright and stretched to the utmost towards the ends, such that given 2 points, it is the shortest of the lines, having them as ends. Right? So it was Heron of Alexandria who gave the phrase that you are quoting, not Euclid. Euclid had a more intelligent audience who understood what he meant. He didn't feel a need to define what a straight line was.
Because they should have known it's intrinsic to reality, Brenda, right? Everybody knows what a straight line is.
Done and dusted.
Right, so how do you, Brenda, how do you define a straight line?
You've been folded.
How do you define a straight line?
The fucking clown that you are.
Brenda, you've shown nothing.
You talk a big talk, but you can't bring it.
What?
Brenda,
What do you think you've done?
I just brought it. I just brought it and folded you like a chair.
Brought it from where? From
what
where?
What have you just done, Brenda? What do you think you've just done?
Oh, Brenda's gone.
Oh, nice. Hey, it's your lap of honour. Brenda's running round now going, yes,
Maybe from Wiki.
Did it.
Wait, without saying if he, she, whatever, agreed with it, disagreed, if it was right, wrong. It's like, what just happened?
It's definitely straight though, isn't it? Confirmed.
I'm pretty sure that this man Heath, Thomas Heath, he is referring to everything. So if this definition was not from Euclid, he would immediately say that, because he was aware.
It's not. Let's not put all our eggs in one Euclid basket, right? Euclid was, if anything, a group of people that got together to write these things down, right, in an order that makes everything, it follows from one step to the other, so everybody can understand it. It is a formulation of one thing following on from the next, a logical statement that can predict what comes after it, and you can build upon it logically. The fact that Euclid did it, big deal. It's there for everyone to do for themselves, and everybody should have their own definitions. This is what this thing says. Whenever you're going over this Euclid, go over it backwards and forwards until you formulate your own definitions for these things, so you can express them to other people. If there's a problem where you didn't quite understand it, try and fix it. Try and make it so it's more accessible as you talk to people. And what we're dealing with here is a straight line. There's nothing more fundamental. There's nothing more at the foundations of what we talk about here than a straight line. And now I haven't got a clue what Brenda thinks Brenda just did. Because that's crazy. A straight line is a straight line. And you can't say that because Euclid didn't write about a straight line. Well, there's a massive hole at the beginning of his formulation of how the thing works. He wouldn't have done that. It just goes against the foundations of mathematics. How can Brenda imagine that at the heart of this, understanding a logical system, they would have just had a hole where the straight line, the most foundational thing, is just breezed over with definitions.
But still, I am struggling with the Brenda argument because Plato defined this straight line that of which the middle covers the ends. So there was definition before Euclid. So so it means that this line, straight line, was defined. So it means that Euclid reversed engineered plate and bring to nothing this definition again. It doesn't make any sense. He undone this definition. This is just stupid. He developed this definition. So because mathematics is in development, not undevelopment. So he developed this definition. So previously existed definition of Plato was developed by Euclid or others, it doesn't matter. So it means there was definition, and Euclid improved that definition. So Brenda's argument that there is not, this straight line is not defined. Yes, it is defined by Plato first, or not first. This is first definition. We know that there was this definition written down. So it was the second definition of Euclid, or more third or fifth, I don't know, but it is definition. So Brenda is just lying or just deluding himself.
I think it's a strange, but I mean, we were talking about this earlier today with Mike, in fact. Strange that the Brendas brought this in when trying to defend Blue's argument. That it comes down to a straight line, always. We started off being brought in about level and horizontal, and now we're talking about straight lines. That's how simple we've made this. Advanced Simplicities took it to this point. This is where we are. How can anybody be confused about a straight line? I don't get it. But I think there's going to be more and more people. I think the hark back to spot on saying at the beginning, the only way out. This was 2, 3, 4 years ago. And we were just simple people back then. Making discoveries. aren't genuine discoveries for the first time, going over stuff and coming to the realization that the only way out, as a consequence of verticals not being parallel, like Blue Marble stated right at the beginning, the only way out is to bend a horizontal, bendizontal. That's it. You can't do it any other way, because you can't have horizontals intersecting a vertical not perpendicular. That would be ridiculous. So you have to do away with horizontals altogether. It's bendizontal. That's the way it is. That's the way it has to be. And there's nothing else. Tis globe, bendizontal. But you just have to conceptualize the bendizontal, because whenever you say that out loud, it sounds stupid as fuck. It sounds really ridiculous. And they can't say that. So what they do is they wait for you to say it, and then they can defend against that. Their diversionary tactics of the globe team, the globe gang, the pack, is, well, I mean, that's it. That's all they have. Ways of not addressing the issues. Their existential cognitive veiling is that bad that they can't even address existential cognitive veiling. They can't even look at the fact that that might be possible. That the fact that everybody could do this to themselves and not be aware of it. The only way you can get this sort of stuff is to have a group of people around you that you can talk to and you can communicate with, and ones that you would trust to let you know if you've got these sort of problems, and that you can work over them. You can talk to each other if you have problems. We have that here. I'm not so sure that Team Globe can do that. And I'm not pitting us against them. I'm just saying that the Globe team, they're the ones that have brought us in here. They're the ones that have said stupid shit to us, that have made us chuckle and then wonder, I wonder why they say that. And then you can look into it and you can find out, and you do learn about their model. But their models are so contradictory towards each other. Don't think they can ever talk about any of these things to anyone. The only way that the globe guys seem to be able to talk about their globe is to find a flat earther that they can sort of argue with, and that somehow helps them feel that it proves their globe to them. It doesn't, but I think they can somehow think that it does.
You know the non-Euclidean geometry that Brenda mentioned?
Yeah.
Well, I had a quick look, and just for the audience, it uses 3 of Euclidean axioms, funny enough. And you'd think they'd make up the other 2, but no. They change the 5th. They're completely opposed to the 5th, and they change the 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
So nothing theirs.
What's the third one? Yeah, I bet they changed that. Changed the wording of it, at least.
Apparently the 2nd. I did a quick look. Apparently they changed the 2nd, and they're totally against the 5th. Totally.
Yeah. But what about the 3rd? Because the second one states that like a straight line segment or a straight line can be extended.
You mean book one?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The extremities of a line are points.
No. They're talking about axioms, so they're talking about the postulates.
Oh, okay. I thought definition.
Yeah, I know. They don't half get confused. They think there's only 5 axioms, and really they're talking about the first 3 anyway are postulates for me. So the second postulate is the one that they get rid of, and that's because it's a circle. So you can't, you can extend it indefinitely. Well, they say, well, you finish the circle, right?
Yeah, but the killer of it all is they say non-Euclidean geometry. But if you look into it, it's Euclidean geometry. Just they said, oh, we'll change this part. We don't like this, or maybe adjust that.
What is
but
the second one? Sorry, what's the third one? Because the third one, to me,
I don't think they touched the third one. I think they kept the third, the first, and the fourth. So what I read is they messed with the second. Here, let me see if I can find the article.
Yeah, you see if you can see what they are. I mean, them saying that doesn't mean anything, because third postulate, because like it says, let it be granted. These are the postulates. Let it be granted that a straight line may be drawn from any one point to any other point. That's a straight line. That's a straight line. Now, what do you have as your conception of a straight line? Or are you going to imagine that straight line can curve when somebody says a straight line may be drawn from any one point to any other point? It's a straight line. So, okay, that's a Euclidean straight line. The second one, that a terminated straight line may be produced to any length in a straight line. Well, they'd say not any length, because you'd close the circle. So that's why they get rid of that, because there is a finite, there's an end, an enclosement of the circle. So that's why they get rid of that. But the third one, to me, that you say they haven't got changed, it says, and that a circle may be described from any centre at any distance from that centre. I bet it changes. They'll change the wording of it, because they can't have that wording. That wording states you can make the circle as big as you want, of any size, at any distance, and that's not true on a sphere. There's a maximum. There's the greatest of all great circles, isn't there? The ones that can be triangles and squares. That's a maximum size.
I posted it in live chat. It's from Britannica.com.
Oh, elliptic.
Yep, also known as elliptic geometry.
Modifies his second postulate.
You see?
Yeah.
That's all it is. Mm-hmm. So next time you hear that, that's it. That's all it is. Just ask them, give me some of your axioms. Give me some of your postulates.
Well, the fourth one is all right angles are equal. I would state that means at the center of the circle, defining the XYZ perpendicular coordinate system, all of those right angles are equal, because there's no more space to put anything else in. That completely fills the space and defines the straight lines that make up the coordinate system.
And by the way, on postulate 3, to describe a circle with any center and distance, this translator is speaking about word radius, and he says that Greeks didn't have specific word for radius, so they used just straight line drawn from the center. So there is no word like radius in Greek.
Yeah. There was no radius in the book, was there? There's no radius in my book anyway. It doesn't mention it.
Yes, because there is no word in Greek. There is just straight line drawn from the center. So this is what they say about radius. But there is no word. This is a Latin word, of course.
But just have an even division of the diameter, wouldn't they, as well? You know, like, because you can use the diameter to find the center of the circle. But, I mean, they would always be using the diameters. Anyway, I mean, unless you are drawing.
Yes, they were talking about drawing, so it was called distance in the sense of dimension, and it is, yes. So it just straight line from point to point. To the point center point starting, and you end in the point where you are starting to draw circumference. So that's it, but no specific word for radius. So, but straight line. So it has to be straight line. No other way.
That's what I wanted to get at tonight, is the fundamentals of this logical system that starts with a point to describe the line. The straight line is the first thing that you could actually do in reality. That's why when we went to realize Euclid with the Realising Euclid test, we decided that the first thing we could do would be to prove the first proposition within book 11 about a straight line lying within a plane and no part without it. So the straight line is the fundamental building block that you have to start off with. And that's the first thing that can actually be proved in reality. You can show that straight line as a proof.
And by the way, to have a curve like circumference, you have to have radius. It means straight line. So to have curve, first you have to have a straight line.
Yeah, straight line is the fundamental thing that must come before everything else. And that's why it's hard to define. It literally is the element of geometry. From that straight line comes everything else. Much the same as logic. The straight line has to be reasoned within your head for you to work out how a straight line is what a straight line is. How it has to be different than a curved line. And how it becomes the building block of those curved lines. That has to be reasoned. So logic and the straight line in the fundamentals of it all have to come together. They belong together, and there has to be some sort of way to bring the fundamentals of logic together in a lesson. And I really believe that geometry is that tool. If the trivium is the tool the organon is the tool that teaches you how to make this stuff, the reasoning process, work more effectively. Then geometry is the tool for teaching how that process directly relates to things in reality and how we use that to help us in reality. There's multiple different ways how you communicate with people and how you do all of that sort of stuff. But to get the building blocks of how we express shape and form, line, all of that, in order for you to explain that, you need to have the building blocks of the logical process and geometry to come together. I believe in this arena that we're in. That's what pulled me in. From a basic, simple understanding, at first, as somebody with, I don't know, just fumbling through life with nothing there. No understanding of what was going on around me. Lost. And I've been brought in. I've sort of found myself, and I've found a lot more knowledge, a lot more science that I'm willing to talk to people about. I think this journey that we've been on should be open to everyone, and it is open to everybody. But it's can be a hard process, especially with the people, the paralogism advisors that are on the other side, that just try and gaslight you about stupid things. I mean, they will definitely. I mean, like, I don't know what Brenda was doing tonight, but some sort of a gaslighting process is going on elsewhere now, because Brenda managed to do something about a straight line. I managed to think that Euclid wouldn't have defined a straight line. I don't know how to express it any better than that. They're going to be obviously struggling because they haven't got an argument, although they do have blue marble science, the grandpappy. Sorry, I missed frantic bunny ears around science. Yeah, Paige is saying they laughed at me when I suggested a protractor was all they needed. Telling people they're stupid. That these aren't nice people, and they will gaslight rather than trying to help you, right? That's the way I'd hope. Somebody says to me, you know, something stupid, I would say, no, yeah, this is where you're going wrong. I wouldn't tell them they're stupid. I wouldn't do that. I'd just try and help them. That doesn't seem to come from this other blue marble science group. They don't seem to have many teachers within it. Mainly, I think, because they're just built on paralogisms that are passed on by people. And there's not many. We've been talking today again about the Paralogism Advisory Council, and there's not many. There isn't many like Brenda and Rumpus and Blue Marble Science that can make shit up and then other people have to get it. I mean, I take it for example, a story about a guy that was in the arena, and he was obviously led by these paralogism advisors into an unmanageable position where he said he could drive a shorter distance than a straight line. And then when your brain goes into that sort of mode, I believe, there's what we call a mental breakdown, a separation of reality. And I think they call it an episode. That sort of thing might have happened. So they've put him out to pasture. He'd come back at some point, but he'll never be the same. It's broken. Broken man. And all because of this geometric blue marble science reasoning, which means there's a model that dictates something and you can't try and attempt to relate that to reality because it just doesn't. There's normally mental breakdown that happens, so I'd advise against it. Yeah, Gords, have you never heard that? He kept striking all of the videos, so it stopped from going out. But SE's got one. SE, get that clip of the he did a redo. He went over it again. Rakia had him over on his server, and then SE did one. If anybody can get that one out.
Which one's that? Which one you talking about?
Godzilla's never heard of the shorter distance than a straight line.
Oh yeah.
So like I said, he kept striking. So all of the ones that we did originally got wiped. Even the Buster song got wiped from the internet. So if you can put that link to your one in the chat for Gords, because that's...
I'm trying to see if because I think he threatened me as well. Let me see if I still have that. Let me see.
Still definitely
he was
caused an
episode,
right? Yeah. Well, didn't you have another one from Geo's? Earth Awakenings.
I'm
you
trying
did a
to
second
remember.
one. You did a new one. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, let me check my videos.
Yeah, sort of when those sort of things occur, when these paralogism guys have pushed you into a position, and you are the public one. These guys, normally the advisors, aren't the ones that are the public guys. Like Blue Marble's obviously been pushed into this by these paralogism advisors. I don't believe Blue Marble's made these up. I think Blue Marble might actually believe there is some sort of measurements that suppose a drop from horizontal isn't an elevation change, but it is, and that's obviously ridiculous. So
good memory you have. I've forgotten about this one. Yeah, it's in the live chat.
There you go. Chuck it in the YouTube if you can for Gords, and then
yeah, okay, I'll put it in there.
Yeah, that was like a redo of it, where you got to go redo the original one that he made into a thing. We might be able to have a private showing on Discord at some point of them.
First he did one with Rakia. He did like a short distance. I forget how much it was, 15, 20 miles that he shortened or something. But the one he did with me was like, if I remember correctly now, 2,000 miles or something, that he shaved off 4,000 or 5,000 miles. An incredible amount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unbelievable the sort of stuff that you have to go through in order to maintain this model thinking, the model, I don't know. But that goes to show what happens. Like, if you let your mind go to these extreme places and you end up saying stuff that obviously people would say, like, whoa, come on now. Slow down. Go and take a break. Go and sit down with your cocoa, Grandad. I think that's what happened. Or, you know, like it was a serious detachment from reality sort of episode. And the only place you can go once one of those episodes happens is to be around the people that don't challenge you. You can't. This existential cognitive veiling, right, cannot be seen. Any attempt at anybody sneaking anything through that veil is met with extreme anger and snowflake behavior, and they want to silence you. They don't want to hear it. And I don't want to put people through that mental anguish. I don't think we should be doing. I mean, these are chances are lonely old men. They're definitely of a boomer age. They may be a certain type of temperament. And yeah, I mean, they get upset at us just saying things. So actually antagonizing them is a bit, you know, I don't think it should be done. These are frail minds that people are in. They're in a bad state. I mean, everybody's in a bad state at the minute. To like drop this sort of stuff, you've got to be tactful, because the logic, when logic becomes something that people fight against, well, you can't really fight against an argument that's so simple that it just makes sense. You can't fight against that. It's going to do something to your mind. It has to. Because you can't drop it once you start that thought process. Going to cause a lot of people a lot of mental anguish. And I don't want to be the one to be pushing that on anyone. There's no need to make this a battle. This is about logic. Stuff that should be really simple. Not some sort of a shouting thing or anybody getting upset about anything. Literally just arguments being put forward using the logical framework. But as the existential cognitive veiling, the ECV states, the issue will never be addressed. The issue being the argument. They'll be arguing about how you form an argument. They'll be arguing about all sorts of things, but never to address the argument. Either about straight lines, perpendiculars, Euclidean relationship with reality, and how that gives rise to us describing everything in reality. Which I'm hoping we can have that sort of discussion with everyone. Because I know, talking to everybody in here, everybody, even though we probably have known each other for quite a long time, but not to say that we are a tight-knit group. It's open to anybody. Anybody can come in, and everybody does come in. Please come into the Discord and have a chat. You'll find out who we are. It's the best way to find out. We're not live always. And believe me, we have had some conversations, and people have come in to try and antagonize us, to get us to record it, to put it out. And I don't really put most of that stuff out there. It takes a lot for us to do that. I don't like promoting sophistry or Flat Earth Society members. I think there's too many Flat Earth Society members, and they want to be the showman. We're not after that. Just stick to making simple arguments, talking about how we are. I'd say I think everybody in here, as though we've not we have been quite close and talked to each other, but I bet there's things that all of us don't know about each other, and there are definitely things that we can learn from each other already, of the people in here. And we are starting to formulate these arguments and stuff into a simple little packages that hopefully we can express different forms of arguments, and how these arguments can relate to reality, and conversational pieces, really, conversation starters, how to enter into conversations, and how to try to not trigger people. That's the art of talking about sensitive issues, basics that we've learned around here. Making it even more simple, but being able to use rhetoric to express that. Hopefully that's where we're going to be going. I know I keep saying this, don't I? That's where we're going to be going. As though I don't know what I'm doing just yet. I haven't. I think a lot of people may be like that within this arena. It's in a state of flux. I don't think anybody knows exactly what's going on at the minute, or where we're going. I've been saying it for a bit. Can't keep going on like this, but it does appear to be continuing along a line. But there's going to be a wall that's got to be reached soon. They can't keep running from not having the conversation. Yeah, there's a guy's asked a question here. Open this one up to the panel. Is this an argument? He says a circle is round and a sphere is spherical, therefore a sphere cannot be round. I think that's a form of the modus ponendo tollens. Something cannot be two things.
It is round.
2D.
Refers both to circle and sphere.
Yeah.
So they share both a circle and sphere. They share roundness. This is common property of both. So
she says
it means that it refers to genus. So I don't know how to create argument around that. It's just property of both.
Yeah, I think I did a modus ponendo tollens that a circle is 2D and a sphere is 3D. So you can't have one being both, and therefore a sphere cannot be 2D because a circle's 2D.
Yes, but in this phrasing, it is what Baby brought. This is creating illicit minor, and you cannot do that because you are referring to greater premise. In greater premise, you are going to more general premise or statement, and that would be roundness. So you cannot differ roundness from roundness, because roundness in a sphere and roundness in a circle, they are the same. So you cannot divide them into two different entities. So this would be invalid. You cannot create argument around that. But being 2D and 3D, yes, as Aristotle says, that number makes different species. Like, for example, triangle and square. If you add one corner or one angle or one side, so we are changing number, then therefore you are changing species, because triangle is different species than square. Therefore, being 2D or being 3D, it cannot be the same. So surface which is 3D cannot be the same as surface being 2D. Simple.
Yeah, I think I wrote it a little bit differently. Both a circle and a sphere cannot be 2D. A circle is a two-dimensional figure, therefore a sphere cannot be a two-dimensional figure.
Yes, this is correct, because you are naming what is 2D and what is 3D. No, you are stating that 2D cannot be 3D because this is obvious.
Yeah.
So
modus ponendo tollens.
Yes. So yes, and this is correct. This modus ponendo tollens is correct. Yes. And it proves that 2D cannot be 3D because there are two different things. You cannot have the same thing being 2D and 3D at the same time.
Yeah, she's staying in the chat there though. By definition, round should be 2D. I don't agree with that because I think a ball is round also. So like round is
round
both.
is not specific. Yeah. So yes. So for example, if you say that we have a rectangle, it may be parallelogram, but it may be also square. So saying that the square is rectangle is correct, but parallelogram is also rectangle. So you cannot differ anything with naming that this is rectangle. So the same as roundness. It is general description of both. So you cannot create argument against, because if you want to make some difference between circle and sphere, you have to create argument around difference between them. And roundness is not difference. This is the thing which they share. They have common roundness. And of course, it is because semicircle is round also, circumference of semicircle, and you are rotating this semicircle, and you are creating sphere. So why can you lose roundness by rotating round thing around itself, or around its diameter? It keeps this roundness. So using word roundness is not good to prove anything.
Yeah. I like that though. Common. They have that in common.
Yes, and if it is common, it means that we are referring to genus, because species we recognize species by special difference. So it has to be something to differ. But if we are talking about genus, we are talking about common things. So if we are, for example, saying that men or people are animals, we are referring to genus. So what is common? For example, cats are also animals. But we cannot say that cats are animals, because we are creating illicit minor. And we are referring to common thing, being animals. So you cannot create argument, for example, that cats and men are different, referring to genus. It is impossible. You can only create a common thing. What is common with people and cats? So no special difference here. But you can create, of course, special difference between cats and men. That would be reason. So we can say that cats have no reason and men have reason. So that would be difference, and we can say that this is the difference between cats and men.
You're saying, what about the definitions of rectangle versus cube? I would say it's the same as what we just said. It's the difference between 2D and 3D.
Yes, they are planes. It is defined by Euclid that solid objects are extremities. Extremities of solid objects are planes, so not plane. Therefore, it has to be 3D, because he is talking about planes in different positions or in different dimensions.
Yeah, the difference between the two is one's 2D and the other one is 3D. That's the difference. And that's what you want to be doing. In order to build a definition, you want to say what's the same and then what the difference is, don't you? That's a true building of a definition. You say what they have in common, and then you say what the difference between them is. That's how you build definitions of things. Thanks, Raven. He went over that. So we have to say thanks to Blue Marble for bringing the Globe team up to speed within this argument building that's going to have to be going on, right? In order for them to compete within the talks that we're going to be having, within the debates that I know that they want to have these debates, just to be able to have get the Globe model out there to show how superior they all are. They're going to want to be able to debate. And I've been on a lesson teaching myself how to communicate so I can put myself in that position. I relish the challenge of these debates to come from the top guys from the Blue Marble Science team. And Blue Marble Science, you'd think he's the top, right? The pinnacle. He's labeled himself that. He is Blue Marble Science. He's the head honcho. He's got to be. I mean, I thought there were other people around, but thinking about it now, it all makes sense. You've got Jesse Kozlowski, you've got the guy that may or may not be from Maine, you've got Soundly, and they're just minions, aren't they? Who's the guy at the top? Blue Marble Science. That's everybody says you're a science denier. It's Blue Marble Science that they're talking about, that you're denying. You're denying the chief Pope. That sound right? The Pope. Pope Blue Marble of the science. He's the top guy, Cardinal. So I mean, that's obviously the pinnacle of the debate, and obviously he was just teasing with us when he came round here to have a chat. When he had a chat with Mobius, which we will be going over tomorrow. We can definitely go over these tomorrow. So I look forward to that.
Okay, I have to drop.
Yeah,
Thank you very
okay.
much. Good
Thank
night.
you. See you later. I think, yeah, I'd say we're going to be, yeah, Blue only stops by at the beginning, Mobius. I don't know whether he has to have some dinner or 11s or afternoon tea. I don't know. Maybe he's just listening. Well, we will go over that tomorrow. Mobius and Blue Marble Science in part of the trivium, so we can see how the formulation, how the communication works, how the grammar, the logic, the rhetoric, how it all plays together when we go to have these communication sessions, practice sessions, training with Mobius tomorrow. Let me get this busted. I don't know whether Gadget, oh, he's not here. Logos. Oh, that is. Okay. Anybody got any final words for Blue Marble? We're doing a Blue Marble special week. Seeing it is, he's decided to offer up this debate with Mike. Mike's said some conditions. He said he'll take it at Blue Marble Science's channel, and he hopes that they will have Blue Marble inviting McToon, Red's Rhetoric. We'll get like a big group of all of them, all of the top pack members, Wolfie, Wally. Let's get them all there. Let's get them all together, and Michael have a discussion with them about Canal elevation profiles. Let's get it on. It's going to be great. We'll go over the Blue Marble form and how we went over that with Mobius tomorrow. So join us then. Thanks for watching, and thanks for sticking with us. See you tomorrow.
It's the echo in your brain. You know you can't sustain the misconceptions in your mind. One day you'll see for sure what all of this was for. Then you can leave it all behind. The journey begins. I am the one, yeah, that will show the proof. I am the one, yeah, that is searching for the truth. I am the whispers of the logic in your mind. I am an agent of the Logos. In the beginning was found this thing that cannot speak. It's how we all truly learn. It's only ever attained when one lets go of fear. So don't let wisdom pass you by. The journey begins. I am the one here that will show the proof. I am the one here that is searching for the truth. I am the whispers of the logic in your mind. I am an agent of the Logos. It was there all along. How could I never have seen this thing that's danced all around? It wasn't until I left behind the things I believed that I could see things so clear. The journey begins. Become the one here that will show the proof. Become the one here that is searching for the truth. Become the whispers of the logic in their minds. Become an agent of the Logos. Become an agent of the Logos. We are the agents of the Logos.